What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Meet the Critters. We have a super fun episode tonight, and looking forward to it. Really nice interview. But yeah, so this is really the first episode of the new format of doing a lot more interviews with farmers that are actually raising the animals instead of me rambling for a half hour about something I found on Wikipedia. I think a lot of people will learn a lot more from that than what I was doing. So we are going to go ahead and bring Joe up right now. What's going on, Joe?
Well, not much. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good. What have you been up to today?
Oh, I had a bunch of projects as usual. Worked on chicken tractors, moved some fence, cleaned up the yard, everyday stuff.
Yeah. Now you're doing pastured pigs and cows, right?
Yep. And we're doing pastured poultry.
Nice.
We do some meat rabbits. We got a few ducks. That's more of just a pet thing that my wife got into. She brought them home from Tractor Supply. What else we got? We do have a few laying chickens, and we have a herd of meat and dairy goats. So,
oh, nice.
Yep, a little bit of everything, and we got a couple bottle lambs that we're raising to butcher this year. We already have them sold. A guy that works with my wife wanted lambs, so we picked up a couple lambs to raise for him.
Perfect. That always is the nicest part about. Oh, also introduce that you are starting your own butcher shop, right?
Yep. We're in the very beginning stages of putting up a custom exempt butcher shop. Just have the dirt work done. We're hoping this week the culverts will get put in so we can get moving on gravel and concrete and
nice.
The whole 9 yards. So
awesome.
Yeah.
But that is like the nicest thing about knowing how to process your own, like being a butcher, because it's like, oh, I'll just grab that for a little bit and just cut it up in a month and a half, or like,
yeah,
just marketplace all of a sudden turns into a grocery store. Just like, yeah, perfect. So, what got you into this? What got you into farming and that?
I'm not sure really. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a farmer. That was, you look back at school papers or talk to any of my family, the only thing I want to do is farming. Don't know why. I mean, barely make any money at it and you work your ass off, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. I've always enjoyed the animals and stuff. And growing up, we didn't have a lot of animals, and we got into raising chickens and ducks and stuff like that. And my neighbor had a dairy farm, and I started working for him and just kind of stuck with it. I've always had some kind of farm job or animals of my own, all through the years. So it's just a passion of mine. I really enjoy keeping the animals, and I don't know. I think the biggest thing is I like providing good quality food for family and friends and stuff. That's most of my customers. It seems the more I raise, the more my family buys. I haven't even got out to like an actual main customer base.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah. Which I'm super appreciative of, because I've had a couple times where I've had a big batch of feeder pigs and I've had quite a few people back out last minute. And
yeah.
So I started taking deposits early for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's super important for like people first getting into it too, is it's like rope your family into this to help you as much as they can. They don't need to do anything but buy the meat. And that'll also be your marketing, because all of a sudden they're going to go, oh, my son or my nephew grew this, buy this. It's fantastic. But that's always super important. So when did you start butchering?
Been about 5 years ago now. Nice. It's always something. I grew up, processing deer that we've, hunting and stuff. And my grandfather taught me how to do chickens when I was pretty young, early teens. We had some extra roosters. He came over and taught me how to do that. And it's always something I really wanted to learn how to do, like, professionally. And a semi-local shop posted a ad on Facebook looking for help. So I went over and applied, and I didn't get the job right away. I was working at the dairy plant downtown here, and one day they looked me up about a year later and said, hey, we need a guy, and we kept your contact info this whole time, and we were really hoping that you come in for an interview. And at the time I was making good money. I mean, I was second, third shift, but I was 6 minutes from my house. I had good benefits. So I was hesitant, but actually my wife's like, just go for it. It's something that you've always wanted to learn how to do. If you don't like it, I'm sure they'll hire you back. So I went for it, and I worked there for 4 years. And about a year ago, I left there, and I'm doing what I currently do now. But we did, it was a USDA slaughter, but they had their own storefront. We didn't do customers' animals. They raised their own beef and pork. So I worked from the kill floor all the way through cutting, packaging, making snack sticks, hot dogs, the whole 9 yards, running smokehouses, and I worked out the storefront a little bit. So got the experience with the customer service. So
that's awesome.
Yep. And it's something I really enjoyed doing. I think I was running the cutting room there. I think I was only there for 4 months.
Right.
And the lead butcher, he ended up having to go on vacation. They had no one else that would run the saw, and I was just training. They're like, how do you feel about running the saw and running the whole show? I was like, it is what it is.
They're
gonna
figure it out.
Yeah, but I mean, I picked it up quick. Like, the lead butcher there, he's a pretty good friend of mine still, and he's like, you're probably one of the fastest people I've ever taught. He's like, I've never had someone come in. He's like, passion for it, and it just took off from there.
Well, I think that's a story you hear a lot when you talk to like other butchers, and you find them where it's like, we all have that little thing in us where it's like, as soon as we got like a taste of it, we're like, cool, this is what I'm doing from now on. I don't care about anything else. I'm learning how to do this somehow. I know a bunch of people, it's the same thing. Like, they just got a little bit of a taste for it, and they're like, oh, I can get into this. Or they were raised in it their whole life. But there's definitely some people coming in from it, like, out of nowhere, of like, oh, okay.
It was definitely something. As soon as I started doing it, I was like, yep, this is what I want to be doing. I really enjoy it. I really like just, you take that whole animal, you see it come in and alive, and you break it all the way down to retail cuts to go out to the store, and people are buying them like crazy. I don't know. It's a different kind of feeling.
There's like a sense of pride when it comes to it, because it's like, I took this animal and now people are going crazy buying it. It's like, cool. That's awesome.
It was really an eye opener to me. And shortly after that, I'm pretty, when I get to a place that I really like, I try to be, I'll be the company man and all that. And I've always wanted to put up a small shop and do it on the side. But some things happened there, it just didn't work out with them. Not a big deal. I actually left because I was supposed to run a brand new USDA shop about an hour north of where we're living now. And I left there thinking I was going to be, getting in and working, and within a couple of weeks, and it kept, stalling. So I ended up having to do something. And one of my neighbors, he had called me to help him cut up a beef, and we got talking, and he's like, oh, you're not working right now? I was like, no. And he's like, well, you want to come work with me? I said, I have no idea about any of that stuff. He's like, you'll learn. So.
Yeah. No, it's tough. And it's usually the people that want it, they find the jobs, but it's, other than that, they are few and far between. To get to the point where you're doing whole animal all day. Like, so it's, the options are get in one of the limited places or start your own at that point.
And there's not anything, the closest processing job I'd have around here is the shop I was working at, is about 40 minutes away. So you got travel time in there with that and whatnot. So.
No, I get it. When I was working at the USDA plant I was an hour from my house every morning, 6:30.
And then you're doing chores beforehand, and then you're coming home and trying to get your chores done. And
there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. You're trudging through it. 4:30 in the morning doing shit.
And you're wondering why you even bother sometimes. And
but we still do it. There's so many moments. in the middle of all this goddamn pig fencing. And there's like moments throughout the day where I'm just like, I'm going to burn this all to the ground. I don't even care anymore. I'm just going to shoot them right where they stand. I don't care.
Oh, I've had plenty of those moments. Something will happen, the goats will get loose, or cows will be around the wrong side of the fence, or pigs are not where they're supposed to be, or tearing stuff up because they constantly tear everything up. And then I'll be cussing them out and about ready to butcher everything I have and just say, screw it. But then you take a few minutes away from it, and you walk back, and just like nothing happened, keep on working. So
yeah, exactly. There's always that moment at the end of the night that I've said it on a couple other podcasts where it's that final walkthrough of the night, especially in the summer. It's my favorite time because it's like sun's almost down. This time of year, there's usually like a dew or a fog, and it's like, this is why we do it. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
But so what do you have for? So you gave us the broad oversight.
Yep.
Let's go top 3. What are your favorites?
My favorite animals to raise?
Yeah.
I'd have to say meat chickens, pigs, and the cows.
Yeah.
Meat chickens because it's a quick turnaround. I don't have to take care of them that long. The Cornish cross that I raise, 8 weeks in, out, done. And even with the Freedom Rangers that I like raising, 12 weeks, they're gone. I don't have to worry about it anymore unless I got more batches.
Right.
Quick and easy. My wife's gonna slide in here for a second.
Yeah, of course. Hi, how's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good.
So he's asking
letting steal your night for a bit.
Yeah, he was asking.
I was listening inside because they're watching it while eating dinner.
Oh,
awesome.
Perfect. Yeah. So the pigs, I like raising pigs as much as they piss you off and they tear stuff apart. They have a personality. I don't know. I really enjoy raising pigs. Then the cows, I like them because they can be a pain, but I have all my cows trained to a single poly wire. Most of the time when I move fences, 15 minutes, I put them up, move them, I'm done. I don't do a daily rotation. I just don't have the time right now. Right. But they're more like a week, half a week rotation, depending on the pasture they're in. But when I get home, 7 o'clock at night or whatever, and I'm doing all the other chores, it takes me 15 minutes to move the cows over, and I'll go back the next day and tear down the old paddock.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. And the cows are generally, they're a lot hardier than the goats and stuff, a lot easier on stuff. So that's my top 3.
Yeah. I have fencing anxiety. I don't know why. There's always this thing in the back of my head of just like, you've shot way too many of these things in the face. Like one of these days it's going to come back. So I usually go over the top, but with a sense of security of like, so I know the polywire works. I just could never do it because I would never sleep.
He's at the point where he said he's done chasing animals. He won't chase anything anymore. He just lets them go.
Yeah, we got one. My friend there, he had passed away. He gave us the Santa Gertrudis cows. They are pretty standoffish and wild. They didn't do anything with him. He was an elderly guy,
right?
And pretty much left out the pasture. Fed them and stuff, and they weren't handled. Well, I got them. I had them in my barn for I don't know a week, and I said, they seem to calm down enough. We'll turn them loose. They went through every fence I had, hardwire, polywire, and they were up on the neighbors. And we just, we've only been here for 2 years, so we haven't really met the neighbors. Right. He come down screaming about my cows being up in his out in his field. And so I was like, all right. I moved some cows around. They come back down to be with the herd. They went right in. I locked them in. And after a while, they knew that I wasn't going to bother them, so they just kind of got used to me. And then Memorial Weekend, last year, my brother's band were playing up at my guest cabin, and it spooked the cows, and the whole herd got loose. And neighbor come down bitching again. Your cows are in the fucking road up there, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, I'll come get them. Well, he had a lawn chair sitting in his front lawn. He goes, oh, this is going to be a good show. You're chasing cows all over. My wife went with
There's
me, and
actually a short on our YouTube channel of Joe walking with the cows walking behind him down the road.
grab the feed bucket out of the car, and I call them, and they all follow me right back down to the pasture.
That's fantastic. That's what you want.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. One of mine is still pretty standoffish. The other two I got as like bottle babies, essentially. Well, the people I got them from had raised them. They had a dairy operation, so they took them off the mothers, and so they were super friendly right off the bat. And now that they've been on pasture, they're like, I don't need to be near you. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, a couple of our bottle calves are like that now. They're like, if the gray one that was raised by our milk cow, she's starting to get like that, but she's still, as soon as you start scratching her down, she's like a dog.
Such a baby. She's my baby.
Well, the super friendly one that I had, we castrated before we put out the pasture. So that might be part of the reason as well, of just like, get the fuck away from me. Yeah. So how are you liking pasturing pigs? Because I'm like just now kind of breaking onto it, but not really. Like, we set up a big paddock, but I'm not doing anything.
Actually, since I started raising pigs, we've done pasture.
Nice.
I was anti-pigs for a couple years and told him that if we ever had pigs again, we were going to get divorced. But we've come a long way, and it's fine now.
Well, the first big batch of feeder pigs I decided to do, I had 11, and I had just put them out in the fence, got them all trained up, and a buddy of mine called me, and he said, hey, you want to learn how to program robots? I said, yeah, sure. This was a Thursday night. He goes, good, you're leaving Sunday. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we need you Sunday out in Nebraska. I'm like, well, I've got a lot of shit to figure out. So we started selling some animals and stuff, but I already had all the pigs spoken for, so it's not like I could downsize.
Right.
And she wasn't super big into the animals at the time. Our daughter was little, and
she was 1, and I can't tell you how many times I strapped her into her high chair and put her on the porch where I could see her, and then I was chasing all these pigs, and I'm like, that's it. Like, I don't ever want to see another pig on our property again.
She didn't come from farming or anything, so she had no idea what to do with anything.
No, I didn't.
And what the pigs were doing were throwing the dirt over, and I didn't have a great fence charger back then.
Right.
Drowning it out and getting loose, and they knew that. But when I was home, because it was a traveling job, when I was home, I checked the fence daily. So they were never out. But within 3 days of me leaving, guaranteed she was calling me, yelling at me that the pigs are running loose.
Oh, yeah.
So
me and my wife, she's sitting over here on the couch. We had one of those moments where when I moved in with her, we started getting chickens and stuff like that. And she just had a small plot in the southern part of the state.
Yep.
And she had never really done any farming either. Like, I raised some chickens before, but I was like, all right, let's do it. And we had like this shed that was half coop, half work shed, and brooders everywhere. It was ridiculous. But we had like a meat bird that I had bought that like was the only survivor out of a batch of meat birds. And I like had it and it was finally old enough to put like, I'm like, all right, you're just going to go in the coop. I don't care anymore. Like, it'll be fine. Put him in the crate overnight. Seemed fine. Let him out. I get a call on my second day at a new job of her screaming at me that they had they poked the neck out, as they do.
Yeah.
And this thing was half dead. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, well, you got to kill it or just walk away from it and let it die. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I need to go back inside. And I had to sit there and like talk to her on the phone and be like, go inside, get a knife, cut the head. That's it. That's all I do. It's not complicated.
We had one of those moments. He had a Rottweiler and she was fine around everything. But as soon as something ran, she attacked it.
Yeah.
And the one day I go out and it's just like a chicken massacre. Like 13 chickens all over the lawn. And some of them are like half alive. Some of them are dead. And I'm freaking out. And his brother had a tiny house on our property at the time. And I'm like, you have to come help me. So he's going around and shooting all the ones who were still alive. And it was horrible. And again, that's not when I was big into things. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
And that's why we do it. That's for those stories right there is why we do it.
Yeah. It's been pretty interesting getting her actually up to par and into the farming
Up to
thing.
par.
And up to par. It was pretty rough road starting out.
It was. I was not. You would never think, like in high school, that I would be doing any of this, that I'd be living on a farm, that I'd milk a goat, that I'd milk a cow. I was the furthest thing from this that you can imagine.
Well, sometimes you just got to just dive in and just go. It's all or nothing. Let's figure it out. Now it's a lifestyle.
I was very resistant.
She was. It took her a
couple years.
Yeah, a couple years to really actually start getting into it and doing stuff with me. The first couple of years, I did 90% of it on my own. I was working full time and just trying to keep up with everything. And I get big ideas in my head. And I think if that one piece of advice I had to say, don't overdo it. Because I think the first 2 years I went from
when you worked at the garbage company.
Yeah, I drove garbage truck for quite a few years after I got out of high school, and we bought our first piece of land. It was 4 acres and a single wide trailer with a pond on it. And as soon as we bought that, we were living in an apartment we had access to the basement. I bought chicks from Tractor Supply. We were living in the apartment still when I knew we were getting that place. Like,
and have chicks in the basement.
Yeah, raised the chicks in the basement.
And then I think we were there like a month or two before we got our first goats.
Yeah.
And then the ducks came with the goats.
Yep. And I bought the lady. I went out and bought these goats, and she had ducks, and I took a dog crate with me. They were Nigerian dwarfs. Yeah. And they wouldn't fit. There was too many. So I was like, well, I'll just throw them in the back of my brother's Durango. Bad idea. She's like, well, I got these ducks because we were talking about the pond. And
he turned off.
Kids.
Don't to me.
So she's like, you want the ducks too? I said, yeah, sure, why not? I got enough cash on me. Well, we loaded the ducks and loaded the ducks up in the dog crate, and my brother was not happy. The goats pulled the tarp back and crapped all over the back of his Durango. The ducks crapped through the wire all over the door. He still tells the story to this day. He was so mad. He's screaming at me, and I'm laughing on the way home. He goes, never again. I've never let you use a vehicle of mine to go get animals. He was so mad, but I was gung-ho. I was all in. I'm raising animals no matter what it takes. And I think we bought three does right at that same time, and they were all bred. And we ended up with, we had close to 20 Nigerian dwarfs. I was milking about half of those.
No, we had 22 babies at one point.
That's a lot of
goats.
goats.
And you opened the barn, and it was just like this stampede of baby goats who all wanted bottles at the same time.
Nonetheless, I took my experience from small dairy farms that I worked on, and I decided that I was going to bottle raise all the goats and milk all the goats. So I was bottle feeding like 20-something goats and milking, I don't know, 12 or 15 does.
You were getting up at like 2:30 in the morning and not getting home from work until like sometimes 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30. I'd do chores, eat dinner, go to sleep, wake up 2:30, do chores, go to work.
Yeah.
So I definitely burnt myself out quite a few different times with trying to go too big, too fast.
Yeah. So, well, I think that happens quite a bit.
It does.
Everyone's like, what's one more pig? Or what's one more of this? One more of this is what you're doing, but harder because there's another one. Like with that math doesn't go through for some reason until you
do that all of the time. Like we talk about stuff and I'm like, what's one more?
Yeah.
A lot.
It's easy to see it that way because when you think about it in your head, you're like, oh, one more. You're already taking care of all these. What's another one? Same thing with the goats. We started out with 3 dairy goats this time. 2.
2. We had Legend and Mooney and Wink.
Yeah. So we had the dairy cow. She wasn't supposed to freshen for a while, and we were offered some of the herd from my friend there, and we're like, yeah, sure, we'll take a couple. It'd be nice to have the fresh milk again. And we knew a few people that were going to be having babies, and it was right at the time where the crazy COVID shortage on formula and everything else. So we figured, what the heck, we'd have some milk on hand in case they needed it. And I think we're up to 15 or 16 goats right now.
I thought it was 13.
I don't know. I just sold one the
like
other day.
Nightmare. I am not a goat guy. I
didn't think I would be. I didn't love any of the animals. And then we didn't have animals for a while. And he called me the one day and he goes, wait till you see what I got the kids. And I'm like, is it alive? And he's like, I'm not telling you. And I'm like, and then I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I'm not telling you. And then he said they. And I'm like, so there's more than one?
Mm-hmm.
And it was sheep. And having the sheep made me realize how much I miss the goats. I'm not a huge sheep person, but we have to buy one at the end.
A lot of people are like that, but I don't know, the goats have a certain personality. I don't think I'll ever be completely out of goats, but we have talked about downsizing our herd just a little bit. We don't have the right fencing. Most of our goats are trained to 4 strands of solid wire, and they don't get out. But 3 strands, you think, oh yeah, 4 strands, 3 strands are good. Somehow they figure out how to get through it.
I don't think anyone has a good plan for goat fencing.
No.
Even if they advertise it, goat fencing, I don't think it works.
No, I don't think so either.
But yeah, my buddies, he's boarding a couple of his goats here, and those ones are the worst.
They are.
Yeah, of course they are, because they're the ones that
yeah.
They get out. They have bad attitudes. They are the worst.
Mm-hmm. I made myself 2 promises when I started really doing this, and it was no dairy, and I'm not chasing anything. So I right off the bat was like, we're not doing milk. I'm not dealing with waking up at those times to milk twice a day and all of it. But again, I don't want to chase anything.
That's another thing I like about the cows over the goats is our cow, the one cow we're milking twice a day right now because she just currently freshened, and the other milk cow kind of stole her calf, so he's really not nursing off of her. Right. But the rest of the time it's 3 days a week we were milking once a day.
Yeah. Golden Cricket gave up on fencing goats. No, that's
the milk cow.
Like a nightmare.
Yeah, it can be, and I don't mind. I wouldn't care if the goats just ran loose, but the road that we live on, it's pretty busy,
right?
And that's the first place they go every single time. You got people honking, people stopping. Sometimes it's not even worth the headache.
I know.
I'll get calls all the time at work saying your goats are out, so I'll text him and he's like, I'm at work, what do you want me to do about it?
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know, I was just letting you know.
Just let you know they're out. Yeah. No, luckily I haven't had, knock on wood, any major escapes or anything. But again, so on this new pig pasture I'm doing, it's about a little under 3 acres, but it's woven wire and electric. I don't fuck around with it. I don't want it.
We got the Fort Knox pig fencing. I watched this one video.
I don't blame him. After those first pigs we had and they got out all the time and some of them would bite, I'm just like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. The only issue I had is one of the first 5 videos I put up on YouTube was a little partition woven wire between my 2 pig paddocks. And because it was just electric before, it was just basically one big L-shaped paddock that I would run a line of electric so I could split in between it. So I put up hardwire on it because I was like, I want this to be nothing is actually getting into this. And we put our boar over there recently. Well, he didn't like being alone, and he's about probably 400 pounds. He's
Yep.
an Ossabaw Mangalitsa. He's just a tank. And I look out, and I'm like, for the past couple of days, I'm like, where's all this hair going? Like right here. And I'm standing out in the front porch smoking a cigarette, and I look, and he is shoving himself at full speed under the woven wire. And I was like, and he made it. He pushed all the way through it. I got out there, and the fence was that far off the ground, and I'm like, awesome, fantastic. Yep. Here comes the electric fence, and he hasn't touched it since.
That's why I'm glad right now up here in the northern part of the United States, up where we're at, we don't have to deal with the wild boars, because
I know
I'd like to have something to shoot more frequently, because we don't have a year-round season.
Depends on who you listen to, because there's a lot of rumor of them here, like in New Hampshire and Maine.
Yeah, I've actually heard about some crossbreed wild Russian cross with something else, so it makes it cold hardy, and they're coming down from Canada. And
oh, you mean the Canadian super pigs?
Yes. Yeah.
Canadian super pig?
Yeah, it's a new thing they're talking about. Yeah. And we've had
a lot of the ones up here that people are saying. I've had people say they've seen them in my field. They're like, "Hey, your pigs are out." I'm like, "No, they're not." I'm looking at them. They're like, "Well, you got pigs in your field." I'm like, with all of the game cameras I have up, I would know if there were pigs in my field.
Yeah.
Trust me, because I would be shooting them right now.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I got excited. I made a corn mash and like put Kool-Aid on it, and just like, I'm going to trap these fuckers. I swear to God.
Yeah.
But
that would be you. Do that.
A lot of the ones up here we've got like random hunting, like high fence operations up here in weird spots. Yeah. And there's a story every couple years about how the fence goes down, and like, like, oh, we got all 100 pigs back, and it's like, bullshit, you did. Yep. There is no way you got 100 Russian boars back into a fence.
Yeah, without having to kill every single one of them or whatever.
Right.
And then you think about it. I mean, 2 pigs can turn into a lot of pigs real quick, especially down south in those warmer climates. I mean,
oh my God,
not having the cold weather kind of kill off some of the piglets when they have them, but yeah, it's like a nightmare to me. I would never wish that upon anybody.
No, that's super rough.
I'd love to go hunt them sometime, but I don't think I'd want to deal with them on a daily, especially doing the farming thing, all the crop damage and killing calves and baby animals. And yeah, it'd be a nightmare.
Although the only caveat is that as soon as we had like a pig problem, I would go from the body shop, custom butchery and slaughter to the body shop, custom butchery and slaughter and pig trapping. Like that would be a very seamless. Like, I'll make money on these things for sure.
Have to get a hold of Yacht down there, get some tips.
Exactly. But actually, the Canadian super pigs, like, I remember reading that article and being like, yeah, I'm sure if that makes complete sense, like why that's a thing. Yeah, and that's actually where I got like the idea for the piglets I'm trying to breed with the Ossabaw and the Mangalitsa with the Hereford. Just got a big tank of a production pig and tossed in some of those heritage genetics.
Yep.
See what happens.
Yeah, that's our 2 sows right now that we have. They are half Mangalitsa, and I'm not sure the percentages, but I was told they're half Mangalitsa, half Berkshire, but they both come with the Hampshire stripes. Well, the one's solid, the one has a stripe, but both of them throw belted piglets. So I'm sure there's Hamp Burke in there. And last year I couldn't find piglets anywhere. So I drove all the way down to Pittsburgh, PA to buy these Mangalitsa crosses, because it's something that I've always wanted, but they've always costed a lot more than regular feeder pigs.
Oh yeah.
So I never wanted to jump in on it. Well, this lady actually, they were cheaper, and they were the only ones I could find that were available. Like, every time I comment, like we have a lot of people that breed pigs around here, and one lady, she posted like 50 piglets, and I messaged her 15 minutes later. She's like, they're all sold.
Oh,
I think you got to be kidding me. So I drove all the way to Pittsburgh and got, I got 1 pure Mangalitsa. I got some Mangalitsa crossed with Idaho pasture pig, and Mangalitsa crossed with Old Spot.
Yeah.
And then the same day I brought them home, a guy about 15 minutes away posted Mangalitsa cross with Berkshire piglets.
Yep.
Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, literally the day that I brought my pigs home, there's a guy 15 minutes away with like 30 of them.
Of course. That's how it always happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I messaged him. I said, yeah, I'll take two gilts. So he saved 2 of his better ones out for me, and I picked them up, and that's what I have now for my sows.
Nice.
But the other crosses, I was not impressed with.
No, I wasn't either.
This stupid thing keeps timing out on me. But
No worries.
we butchered them, and they were the Idaho pasture cross with Mangalitsa. They were a year old, and the old spot were a month behind, and the pure Mangalitsa was the same age. He hung the heaviest, and then the Idaho pasture pigs, but the fat cap on them, and I tried holding the feedback for them because I knew that they were going to be fattier.
It's tough.
I think when we kept 2 of the smaller whole pigs for ourselves just because we didn't have them sold, and I think I got like 15 pounds of sausage out of both pigs.
Yeah, that sucks. It's
and,
tough. Well, especially when you put Idaho pasture pig in there too.
Yeah.
Like,
and I've raised Idaho pasture pig just themselves before, and I really enjoyed them. They grew out within 10 months.
They were super nice.
They were
had a good temperament.
Great temperament. They had good marbling. They had just the right amount of fat. Whoever created that breed, I can't remember the person I used to know. They did a good job when they made that 3-way cross. They did. But I really wanted to try the Mangalitsas because I always watch Blakeslee Acres on YouTube.
I haven't seen him yet.
He's out of Michigan, and he's got a butcher shop and stuff too that he put up. I'm not sure if it's USDA or custom. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen his videos. But he does a lot of Mangalitsa crosses, and that's where I heard about him first. And I just wasn't impressed with those crosses. So now our new boar that I picked up, he is Duroc Berkshire. I'm going to cross him onto those girls and see what I get this summer.
Nice.
So it's a matter of putting the pieces together to find out what works, I guess.
Right. And there's a part of it where it's like, all right, I'm doing it.
Yep.
Kind of do it the way I want to do it. Like,
exactly.
Let's see what happens. We have the ability to do that.
So like I explained in a couple of the videos when I talked about the pigs, for me being a small farm just starting out like we are, it's not worth the time and effort to put into the Mangalitsas. And in our area, there's no market to sell the meat, like in a niche market. We're just not close enough to like a major population to where we can get enough customers to pay the extra money. Because I see on some of the Mangalitsa groups where they're getting like 8, 10 more than that a pound hanging weight, which is crazy.
Lisa said Carl Blake mixed the Idaho pasture pigs.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
So I just stick with more beef if I wanted to raise something for 24 months to get them to a decent hanging weight to get the meat that I needed. So that's I really like them. I like them, and they're a lot hardier than some of the commercial pigs, and they did awesome through the winter. My first gilt, she had her piglets on Christmas Eve, and I lost that litter because it was like -22 that day, and we weren't home, of course, because holiday stuff. And the second sow, she went in January, and every piglet lived. I didn't have any issues with any of those piglets, and they did awesome. I put a little heat box in the back once they found it. I mean, super hardy. I mean, we had a mild winter, but I was super happy with how the piglets were.
Awesome.
So I have 3 of those left. I'm raising out just to see, how they do, and then we should have a litter. I want to say end of July, August will be our first litters out of that new boar. So
yeah. So your audio is just a little wonky. I just wanted to say, I don't know if. Let me check something.
It might be our Wi-Fi connection.
Oh, okay.
I see it's starting to drop a little bit out here.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fine. It's not awful. It's just wonky. But no, I definitely we have a litter coming in August as well. It's my first litter farrowing, so I'm like freaking out, but also like, all right, it'll be fine. But it's also one of those things I'm like, all right, awesome. I have a litter dropping of pigs that take longer because I shot myself in the foot.
Yep.
Purposely put heritage breed in and take it through the New Hampshire winter. This will be fun.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know what you're using exactly for your pig feed. You just use a commercial pig feed, or?
I use a commercial pig feed, and then for my feeders, I'll put in crack corn to supplement a little bit, and then about halfway through, I'll mix some soy in, like some soy meal in.
Yep.
Then I'll take it off, and then when I do the actual finishing, is when I add a little more soy back in, and I try to do like raw milk. Like I've got a couple like customers and stuff like that just they do dairy, so they always just have milk that like people don't buy, so I can pick it up for cheap and just put the milk to them.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we're doing, except for I don't mix in the soy just because it's so expensive in our area.
Yeah,
it would like skyrocket my cost. But if I could find a local source of it, I would actually mix my own. I used to do that for a while, where I mixed my own cornmeal and soy and pick the girl.
I know at one point I looked at like the grain grinders and mixers and all that, and I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. A lot of the bigger producers around here that have little storefronts and they need a USDA processing and stuff like that. They're growing their own grain around here.
Yeah,
to make it worth it. So, actually, the place I worked for, that's what he did. He grew corn and soy and everything, and he had a grain dryer. And we were doing 80 feeder pigs every other month. We were bringing in and raising them in the barn, and then we were killing between 6 and 7 beef and 10 to 12 hogs on a Wednesday morning. We were done by noon, and there was 4 of us on the kill floor.
That's awesome.
So it was me, my little brother, and 2 of the guys that had been there for a while. We could be done, and a lot of times we could be cleaned up before lunch, but sometimes one of us would have to go back and clean after, but we cut the rest of the afternoon.
Right. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, when you get the right tools and the right setup, you can move through it pretty quick.
Oh, and especially if you got 4 people in there too, that they just have the right rhythm.
Yep.
And like, because I've worked with people where it's like the rhythm's not there, like where it's like, back off, I'll just do this myself. I don't.
Yep.
You feel
like, and that's always the gamble when it's like, especially like when I was first starting out, and I was still like, I just kind of want somebody here, like, just because there's a cow hanging from my goddamn tractor, like, and help turned into me just being like, hey, if you're around, want to come hang out, like, whatever. And now I'm just like, no one stay.
Yeah,
just leave. I got it.
Sometimes it is easier. My little brother started at the butcher shop after I did, because he actually went to school to be a chef, and he was a head chef at a restaurant. And then COVID hit, and all the restaurants shut down here in New York. And he wasn't doing anything, so I said he was helping us on the kill floor on Wednesdays already. So our boss had offered him a full-time position. He kind of stuck to it. He kind of liked the steady hours and stuff. So, and he's really good with the recipes and all that from having that chef background.
Awesome.
So,
that's perfect.
Yeah, once you get a rhythm with a couple people, you know how they work. Like we rotated jobs on the kill floor. Like after we learned it, we just had a rotation going. We just kept it going, so everybody was fresh every week. Somebody did something different. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So what are the plans? What's coming up?
Oh,
everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Everything.
That is the answer every time. It's just interesting how people forget that.
Yeah. It kind of, the butcher shop thing kind of just, we weren't really planning on it. Kind of came right. We had an offer, and we sat down and ran the numbers and figured out this and that. And we just said, we're going for it. It's been a dream for quite a while, and we got the right offer and the right partner to do it with. He's going to be a silent partner. We're going to be, running the shop and stuff. And
it went really fast.
Yeah.
Like, he brought it up, and we're like, yeah, we could, kick around the idea. And he came over and he's like, okay, where are we putting it? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We're like, this is a good spot. We don't use this part of our property. And then I think like a week later, there's a bulldozer and a skid steer here. He said, can you get that spot brush hogged out and the trees cut out? The guy will be here Monday to start dozing. And Monday and Tuesday, they got the dozing done. And it's kind of been sitting there like that since we don't have culverts yet. We're kind of waiting on the county, but they're supposed to be in this week. So, and then as soon as the culvert's in, I'm pretty sure it's going to be balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Getting shit done.
I'm expecting not to see Joe for about 3 months. So
Yeah.
No, that's accurate. That's
Well, that's like our business partner. He's pretty, he's ready to do it now. So we've already got the building kit sitting up in our field. The trusses are at his shop. We're just waiting for the culverts to be put in so we can get the gravel in and get the concrete, the monolithic pad poured. And once that's cured, we're going to start building.
That is awesome, man. That is so good to hear. Like we had
are
kind of
super excited.
that is awesome. We had kind of a similar thing when we went full time here. We had already built the shop and done everything. We had a detached garage that we split in half and turned everything into it in there. But we were doing deer. I was doing beef every now and then, like one a month, a pig a month, like just for extra cash.
Yeah. That's
And then-
exactly. That's kind of how I've been this last year. I slowed down away from it just because I've been so busy.
Right.
But same thing, and I haven't had a shop. Like when I started doing stuff on the side, one of the neighbors I go hunting with, he goes, "Hey, you know how to cut meat?" He goes, "You want to do a deer for us?" I said, "Yeah, sure." That one deer turned into like 25 the first year.
in our single wide trailer kitchen
Yep.
with like a meat grinder from like Cabela's
Yeah,
or
I know.
something. Like it was so crappy. And then we're using like a food saver vacuum sealer.
Mm-hmm.
It started out rough.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. Like that's how when we get to the position where we're at, that's how we started.
Yeah.
It's just like this probably isn't even legal or healthy.
Yeah.
We're doing it. Like,
Very
Yeah.
sketchy.
that'll come
Not
later. We'll be
happening.
fine.
Yeah, and the more people that know that you butcher, the more people are like, "Hey, I got this cow. I haven't been able to get into any shop. You think you can do
No,
it?"
dude, you're not gonna have to advertise for
No.
anything. Like
We're gonna do some advertisement. We're gonna do a Facebook for the butcher shop. We just figured out the logo this morning. So we're gonna get going on that stuff.
We're stuck between two.
Yeah. We got down to two, but
Got
I'm
it.
pretty sure the one's gonna go with. But yeah, we're gonna do some little bit of local advertisement just to kind of get it.
Up and running.
Yeah. Try to give people a look into it, as with the YouTube channel and the Facebook page that we're setting up for the butcher shop. We're gonna just keep like a progress of the building and everything, what we have going on, until we can start taking on dates and stuff. So the plan with that right now is once we get it up and we get it functional, I'm gonna start part-time, nights, weekends.
right.
I want to start slow because I want to make sure all the equipment, some of it's used. I want to make sure everything's running until I get,
Right.
then
You
I
need to
can
get a rhythm.
slowly book more.
Like
Yeah.
we were just saying, you need to
Yep.
get a rhythm to it, because if you don't, you're just going to be shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You can take on as much business as you want, but if you're not timing it right or
Yep.
whatever, because again, like for a beef, are you hanging 2 weeks?
Yes, that's what my plan is.
Nice. Yeah. So I only hang a week, but I break
Yes.
all my beef into eighths just
Yep.
because it's easier for me to carry, and because I don't have a rail system. I'm hauling everything around.
Yeah, that I've done. I actually had my current chicken coop was a little cooler trailer,
Yeah.
and it had a rail system and stuff in it. We bought it from some guy downtown. They used it for hanging moose in when they went out and
Perfect.
did moose hunts. I put a cool bot system in it, and that's kind of what I started with in the warm months.
Yeah.
And
Until you
beef
set it
quarters
on fire.
barely would fit in there.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing. I would bring them from whoever's farm, and I was manhandling beef quarters into a trailer that you can't even stand up in.
Oh,
And, yeah, it was a nightmare.
yeah. It's all nightmares. That's what
Yeah.
I'm realizing talking to more and more people about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
recorded.
it is.
It's like
all a
this
nightmare.
all sounds absolutely horrible, and we're not doing a good job of like pulling people into the business. But it's like, listen, if they don't think that's an awesome story, they're not meant to be in the business. So it's
Exactly.
fine.
I feel like it's like you're riding a bike through hell and everything's just on fire and you just keep smiling and saying, "It's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine."
Yeah, no, you nailed it.
Yeah, the whole time. That's what it's like.
Yeah, pretty much. That's fantastic. So, a question I'm gonna start trying to ask all my guests: what is your dream animal to have on the farm? Like, it doesn't even have to be like, all right, like we're gonna raise this
Do
for
not
this
even say
reason,
this.
or it could just be like, screw it, I have this.
I don't know if I have a dream animal. I mean, I enjoy what I have now. I'm sure my kids would say a horse.
Yeah,
I'm kind of thinking a palomino. A very like nice broke trail ride palomino.
Yeah, I don't even have like any favorite breeds of animals. I'm more of I like mixing stuff, and I like looking out my pasture and seeing a whole bunch of different colors and shades of stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know if I'd have a specific dream animal.
yeah. No, because like I said, I'm testing out that question to see how it does. Because I have talked to a few people where it's like, oh, just whatever breed they want to do for. But
Yep.
it's like we were talking about. We've pretty much done what we wanted to do, and it's like, yeah, we're going down this route of these are the breeds we want, and we'll see how it works.
Yeah, I actually I've got 2 more sows coming tomorrow. Actually,
Nice.
My boss had
It's just one more. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's just 2 more.
I'm gonna try selling one of the sows I have. I think she's a little bit more ornery, kind of harder to handle.
No, not a
Let her out.
little bit more ornery. She is very ornery.
But these ones, they're actually blue buck gilts, and they were out of like fair stock, so they're really, really nice pigs.
Nice.
He gave me a smoking deal on them. I couldn't say no. The one didn't take last year, so she hasn't had piglets yet, but I figured for the price I'm paying for her, I'll turn her into sausage and bacon and put it in the
Worst
freezer.
case scenario.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about it. But the other sow, she had complications when she had piglets, but because it was his first time having piglets too, so she ended up with like all in all, she farrowed 17 piglets. He lost quite a few of them because I think one of them actually got stuck and it killed the rest that were in there.
Right.
But she had a long labor and it was a tough one. But I think that giving her a second chance,
Oh yeah.
I think she'll be a good. She was a great mother for what she raised once she kind of got past the delivery part. So I'm excited about that. I think they're going to cross really well on my boar. And 4-H is still a huge thing locally here. And last year I had a lot of 4-H kids call me about piglets, but I was just honest with them. I said these aren't 4-H pigs. They grow a lot slower, and I wouldn't feel right selling you guys pigs. So I'm hoping to be able to tap into that market a little bit more next spring.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got 5 piglets coming 1st of July. More Herefords, so I'm excited. But I'm
That's
also
one
like,
breed I haven't raised, and I really want to get into them.
I love them, man. They're just so good. Like the one gilt we have left, we had 2, but the second one had a bit of a hitch to her giddy up and just wouldn't get bred. So sausage she was.
Yep.
But they've just been fantastic. They're tanks, man. Like the biggest one we put in my freezer this year or like last winter was 276 hang at like 6 months, 7 months. And the meat quality is fantastic.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited to raise them again. I haven't decided if I'm going to try and pull one for more breeding stock or just get rid of them all.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, it's always a back and forth. So
yeah. But awesome. I appreciate you guys coming on. This was an awesome conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Behind the scenes, me, Joe, and Josh, who's in the chat down here, we're talking about probably doing a show on Tuesday. So hopefully we can all make that work. Have a little butcher therapy session. That's what I feel like it's going to turn into. it's just going to turn into like, it's just hard, man. Like, I don't know.
Yep. I think I'm going to try getting it up on our laptop too. I think that'll do a little bit better in my phone. It won't
It's
type
a
it.
lot easier. When I first started going on Josh's show, I did it on the phone, and it just kind of makes it harder. Like when you do it on the laptop, it's super easy. I can email you the links to join, or you can Telegram is super easy to download on the laptop too.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
awesome.
Either way, that'll work.
Fantastic. Well, again, thank you guys for being on. Hopefully we'll have you on again once we see how things are progressing and what's happening over there. Definitely want some more news on that shop. So, guys in the chat and everyone who's listening after the fact, we appreciate you being here and glad you got a chance to meet the critters.
Thank you.
Thanks.